When you start off, we do the OFM projection of what the budget outlook is going to be. We have about a $400 million shortfall for fiscal years 13 through 15. This went down $100 million from the last speech I gave yesterday. We had both a glimpse of what the caseload forecast will look like in 2 days, and we had the revenue forecast. Revenue's down $88 million for the next biennium. Our caseloads are down more than that. So we actually gained a little bit in the financial outlook, but this is sort of noise in a $35 billion budget. We'll have, so $400 million shortfall, but there's 550 in the, and that counts the 550 in the rainy day fund, which I would need 60 votes in the House to pass. And I have somewhere between 54 and 55 votes, depending on what happened in the 17th. And to think that I get all of those is perhaps wishful thinking on my part. And then we've got, but I need 60. And we haven't had a lot of cooperation in the House on that in recent years, so I'm not counting on it. So now I have a $950 million problem, and you got to have an ending fund balance. You have to have some money if you have a bad fire season, if you get a bad revenue forecast. All that stuff just moves around. It's not all 100% predictable. So you add another 350 to that, you now have a $1.3 billion problem. That's the base budget. On top of that, we have a legal responsibility from the McCleary decision to add somewhere between 1.1 and 1.9 billion to the 13-15 biennium budget for K-12 in new spending. And so now we have a $3 or $4 billion problem, sort of $3.5 billion problem. So it takes your breath away. One place that you saw last year, you may see again if we don't do revenue this year, is there are a lot of transfers and assistance programs that assist counties and cities in doing things that are discretionary. There's a lot of criminal justice assistance, there's a lot of public health stuff that happens, and if the state is going to have to divest of stuff that we do, we're going to have to make a sort of a list of the things that's legal for us to divest of. I went through that exercise yesterday with the staff, and I came up with about $1 billion worth of cuts, and my target was 2.5. I'm stuck. When I talked about numerically difficult, I meant numerically difficult, not just politically difficult. So we'll have to, we're going to come up with some solution. It will involve a number of things. One thing that is typically a response to this kind of problem is you transfer money in from somewhere else. And somewhere else, I mean, there's a lot of complicated names for these funds, but they turn out to be the capital budget, mostly. If you move money in from ALEA, and I say that and everyone's eyes glaze back, well, that's money that would have been spent building culverts all over the state. And doing some of the stormwater work that is a tremendous need for you guys to do. So I'm at the stage right now where I'm trying to piece together the budget framework. I'm not close to having a detailed budget. I won't be at that point until February or March. But I'm hoping to have, now that we have some sense of where the revenue is going to be, is to do a framework of a budget so that I can start to get buy-in from legislators on what we're going to do. I think it is unlikely that we will be able to do a budget that does not involve some revenue increase and some very painful set of trade-offs. There's just not a lot left to cut. You have to decide what it is that you want to buy, and then you have to design a tax system that's efficient and fair to collect the amount of revenue that's necessary to buy the stuff you want to buy. And you have to balance those. Just families do this. How hard do you want to work? You want to have both spouses working? or do you want to buy less? And we're at that point now of trying to make those decisions about what's the right level of investment in K-12, in higher ed, in aid to the cities. Do we want to have cities totally dependent on their own revenue, or do we want to have them get some assistance for gang protection or whatever it is that we're trying to help you guys with? Because if we ask cities to depend on their own revenues, that works fine for some cities and not so fine for other ones.